The Kerala Panchayat Raj Act of 1994 serves as the operating system for decentralized governance in the state. It establishes the legal architecture that dictates how power flows from the state government down to local municipalities and individual citizens. But looking at the sheer density of the statute reveals a serious structural barrier. The Act spans over 280 sections, categorized across 26 chapters, filled with cross-references, exceptions, and dense legalese. As a piece of legal engineering, the Act is comprehensive, but it is written entirely as declarative code. It defines jurisdictional boundaries, outlines administrative rules, and specifies conditions. Declarative code dictates what the law is, but it inherently resists quick practical execution by the people it governs. This creates an execution bottleneck. Citizens trying to solve a local issue and officials trying to administer local resources rarely need to read the entire law. They need actionable outputs. They require specific petitions, official compliance checklists, and procedural notices to get things done. To bridge this gap, a new computational layer has been developed, the Kerala Panchayat GPT. This custom system functions as an application programming interface, an API, for the 1994 Act. This diagram illustrates the interface logic. Raw statutory text enters on the left. The GPT layer parses these legal conditions and compiles them into targeted workflows. Out the other side comes executable civic action, a citizen petition, an official compliance checklist, and a court timeline. By examining this architecture, we will see how a large language model converts a static legal behemoth into an active administrative tool. Meaningful use of civic law relies on computational interfaces that translate dense rules into accessible civic power. To understand the complexity of the data this system processes, we must look at the bedrock axiom of the entire governance model, Section 3 of the Act, which establishes the Grama Sabha. The Grama Sabha is not a council of politicians. By law, it is the assembly of every registered voter within a specific village constituency. It is the base layer of local democracy. Under Section 7, Grama Sabhas group together, forming the first administrative tier, the village panchayat. Section 8 extrudes village panchayats upward into the intermediate block panchayat. Finally, Section 9 combines block panchayats into the district panchayat, completing a nested three-tier matrix of local governance. This entire physical structure is strictly governed by population-to-seat matrices outlined in Section 6, ensuring that representation remains mathematically proportional at every tier. Overlaid onto this geographic matrix are complex demographic rules. The Act mandates specific rotating seat reservations for scheduled castes, scheduled tribes, and women across the different constituencies. This nested three-tier matrix ensures deep democratic representation. However, its highly interconnected nature creates a formidable jurisdictional labyrinth for anyone attempting to execute a specific civic action. Let's shift from the broad architectural structure down to the granular friction of executing a single legal action within it, such as evaluating a candidate's eligibility for office. This requires navigating Sections 34 and 35 of the Act, which govern the disqualification of candidates and elected members. The law does not offer a simple checklist. It outlines over 24 specific, highly conditional rules for disqualification, scattered across multiple subsections. To apply this accurately, you process a nested Boolean logic tree of if-then statements. For example, disqualification occurs if convicted under the Penal Code, or if in arrears of panchayat tax, or if absent from meetings for 3 months without permission. When a returning officer or a private citizen must manually parse this nested logic to verify eligibility, the operational risk spikes. The sheer density of the variables invites procedural error. Misinterpreting just one of these conditional statements leads to actions taken beyond legal authority, known as ultra-vires acts, or results in contractual and administrative delays. Human processing of multi-conditional legal code is the primary bottleneck preventing swift, accurate civic administration. This is the exact bottleneck the custom GPT interface layer is designed to resolve. It acts as a technological parser for Boolean legal logic. This taxonomy map routes the GPT's capabilities based on who is querying, citizens, officials, or courts. For citizens, it converts Section 3A into a formatted draft to object to unfair beneficiary selection using Prompt 279. For officials, the system targets powers granted under Chapter 16, converting them into linear tools. Utilizing Prompt 293, the API generates strict statutory action checklists, guaranteeing an official completes every compliance step before issuing an order. Finally, the system assists the judiciary by untangling the overlapping violations that stall local litigation. Prompt 251 through 255 allow courts to instantly generate provision-wise case maps and neutral legal summaries for election disputes, isolating the exact legal questions at play. The GPT operates purely as a legal API. It maintains the integrity of the underlying statutory code while accelerating how stakeholders query, parse, and execute it. We can observe this architecture working in parallel by running a unified execution scenario across all three user roles. The lifecycle begins when a citizen identifies a local hazard. Using Prompt 4, the API instantly generates a structurally sound model request for a special Grama Sabha to address the issue. In response, the Panchayat secretary utilizes prompts 186 and 283. The system generates an unauthorized construction notice outline, flagging specific natural justice requirements to ensure exact legal compliance by the administration. If the notice is contested, a court utilizes prompts 187 and 254 to map the resulting building dispute directly back to the exact statutory provisions, evaluating the actions of both the citizen and the secretary against the raw code of the Act. By generating plain English guides, checklists, and risk flagging matrices, the AI standardizes legal compliance across the entire administrative ecosystem. Removing the friction of statutory interpretation directly empowers participation. It prevents citizens from being priced out of their own local democracy by the sheer cost and time required to parse legal text. Civic transparency depends on providing the public with the computational tools needed to navigate, parse, and execute the law effectively.